Okay, let's talk about Ghostbusters.
Something strange in the neighborhood. Who you gonna call?
Ghostbusters is one of my favorite films of all time. It's funny, it's quirky, and it has some genuine scares. I mean, especially for 9-year-old Dan Drake. The principal cast of Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson, Rick Moranis, Annie Potts, and Ellen Ripley are all brilliant performers. I mean, this cast is a genuine embarrassment of riches, and they all transform their characters into endearingly goofy people that we all just want to hang out and share a pizza with. Unlike other comedy films that try to cross genres with horror, Ghostbusters tells a grounded, relatable story that doesn't have to resort to silliness or parody.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not.
It's a legitimately great movie. I mean, duh, we don't have to be told. Ghostbusters doesn't suck. But here's the thing. It kind of should. Here's a list of things, just off the top of my head, that most stories have that result in a successful movie. If a movie sucks, odds are they skipped one of these principles. But Ghostbusters really doesn't have any of that. The characters we meet at the beginning of the movie, sure, they have a desire, but it's to start a business, and they complete it like 16 minutes into the movie.
I think we'll take it.
Good.
After that, the goal then just becomes to, bust some ghosts. Now, I know, they end up saving Ripley and the city from marshmallows, but I don't think that really counts because that goal doesn't drive the plot for a majority of the movie, nor is it really motivated by character growth, because, well, the characters don't grow. These guys and gals are pretty much fully formed from the outset.
You know, you don't act like a scientist. You're more like a game show host.
They have flaws, yes, but the flaws are goofy.
No kiss.
They don't need to learn a lesson by the end of the movie. They don't need to change. They are who they are the entire time. They're business owners who wait for the phone to ring. That's right. They're passive characters, which means that they don't make things happen. Things happen to them.
We got one!
They get a call, and they go bust the ghost. They get a visit from the EPA, and conflict ensues.
Or I come back with a court order. You go get a court order.
Ripley gets possessed, and the EPA blow up their building while unleashing a bunch of ghosts on the city of New York. They get thrown in jail, and the Ghostbusters, through the whole movie, have to deal with thing after thing happening to them. And then, at the end, they have to go and clean up the mess that, well, they kind of helped make. I think you can make a good case that the real threat in Ghostbusters is actually the Ghostbusters themselves.
Some maintain that these professional paranormal eliminators in New York are the cause of it all.
I mean, at the beginning of the movie, the ghosts are kind of just a minor nuisance. It's not until the Ghostbusters show up and catch the attention of the EPA that things really get blown out of proportion. Which leads me to the antagonist situation. The Ghostbusters face off against ghosts, government regulation, and political bureaucracy.
You will have saved the lives of millions of registered voters.
For an hour and 25 minutes before they even meet Gozer, who, by the way, they defeat in less than 10 minutes. This movie really should suck. It's a supernatural movie about opening and operating a small business, which stars former sketch comedy improvisers that sit around and wait for the phone to ring.
Janine, any calls?
No.
Any messages?
No, Dr. Venkman.
Type something, will you? We're paying for this stuff.
Show no interest in growing as characters, and whose major antagonist for the majority of the film is government regulation. So why? Why does it work so well with so much stacked against it? Well, I've been up all night, but I think I cracked it. Unlike pretty much all other supernatural films, Ghostbusters is positive and uplifting.
That's a big twink.
And number 2, the film is grounded in reality. Let's take these one by one. Ghostbusters works because the characters are people we like. They're people doing very relatable things like working a job or hanging out eating Chinese food. And all of this contributes to the movie's vibe. The laughs are light, situation-based, clever, sarcastic, and come from good-hearted, likable characters doing goofy and yet endearing things. But we can also sense a genuine care between the characters, the love they have for their city.
I love this town!
And a hope that good, hardworking people can rise above bureaucracy and find success. And even when the film takes a creepy turn, we're quickly reminded not to take it too seriously.
Do you have any Excedrin or extra strength Tylenol?
Contrast this with the 2016 version, and you can see within the first 10 minutes that the sharp wit and positive tone of the original is replaced by silliness.
Oh, ding dong.
Surface level gags, and even hostile character relationships.
You gonna give me a wedgie?
No, I think both of us pretty much feel you have enough stuck up your butt.
Now, those things don't necessarily make a bad movie. I mean, I like silliness and I love this cast. But I think the failure of Ghostbusters 2016 is that it failed to fit within the vibe of the franchise. And unlike Ghostbusters 2, which makes positivity a much more front and center theme, I mean, the entire plot surrounds pink, slimy ectoplasm that feeds off negativity and is ultimately defeated by positivity.
Mood slime.
What impresses me most about the positivity of the original is that it's not so overt. It doesn't have to call so much attention to itself. The positivity sneaks in. You find yourself smiling by the end, and you can't pinpoint exactly why, other than the fact that you enjoyed the movie. Everything works together to make the film feel genuine. Which leads me to the second point, realism. In the excellent essay by Lessons from the Screenplay, Michael shares a clip from director Ivan Reitman that explains what he calls
The domino theory of reality.
He says, as long as you take people step by step through a series of credible choices, you can start to believe that this sort of thing can happen. In writing the film, Reitman, Ramis, and Aykroyd rightly choose to ground the beginning of a film about ghosts in reality and even skepticism. After the cold open, the first thing we see is Peter Venkman getting creative with his own experiment to flirt with a woman.
Is it a star?
It is a star. Very good.
We can then immediately see how claims of the paranormal can get exaggerated. By doing this, they're able to introduce other paranormal and even absurd aspects of the story slowly, one domino at a time.
Starting as parapsychologists working in the university, I think it helped bring the audience from a place of what's real to what's unreal.
But perhaps the most brilliant thing about this movie is that it's actually a story about a startup business.
I always thought the movie should be a going into business story. You know, it's three really smart guys who go into some business. It's just a very unusual business.
It paints busting ghosts as if it were glorified pest control. There are so many scenes devoted to the nuts and bolts of entrepreneurship. Rick Moranis throws a party as a business expense. Ernie Hudson says,
If there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say.
even the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is a reference to corporate sponsorship. Beyond the realism that comes from grounding the story in business, there's also a legitimacy brought to the film by Dan Aykroyd's real-life obsession with ghosts, aliens, and all things X-Files-y.
How much of Ghostbusters came from your experience with your family, Dan?
Really, it was just sort of that basis of growing up that gave me the fluency and the currency to go and look in the journals and use everything that was there in the movie.
All of the supernatural and pseudo-scientific jargon in the movie is actually based on the real thing, written by guys who know that paranormal world inside and out.
Or if you're talking about UFOs, spirits communicating with the dead, actual loop hauntings, or the Ghost of Flight 401, one of the most famous ghost stories ever, Don Repo, The Ghost of Flight 401. There have been 6 books on it. It is immensely entertaining, and that's why I'm a part of it.
Positivity and realism are the keys to why Ghostbusters doesn't suck, even though it probably should. Okay, I'm going to bed now. Don't forget to like and subscribe.